With it being approximately 6:30 on Tuesday, September 11, 2018, I will call this meeting of the Webster School Committee to order and ask that we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Now I can officially say I hope everybody enjoyed their summer, although it probably seems like summer was about 10 weeks ago. First item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve the July 31st, 2018 meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
There was a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Next item on the agenda, I will entertain a motion to approve the August 28th, 2018 minutes.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the superintendent's report. Good evening, Mrs. Gogan.
Good evening, everyone. How is everyone?
We're doing great.
Awesome. I have some good news to share with you. I officially received notification that we will be granted the second year of the Park Avenue Turnaround Grant funds, so that's great news. I'd like to give you, the school committee, an update on an incident that happened today at Bartlett High School. I know the principal will share some as well. Today, through the help of our students, we received information through a Snapchat that there was a potential threat to a school with the initials BHS. It was a gun threat, and the student shared it with the administration. The administration called myself and the police. The police responded very quickly and shared that information with another school in Massachusetts, Brockton High School, and they were involved in this threat as well. What we have been informed was the threat came from out of state. We did have the police on site. Given that students are socially connected, it was important for us to make sure that our students did not have anxiety about this today. So the principal held an assembly immediately with myself present and the police, and we addressed the student and staff population together to let them know that this was not a credible threat to our school, but we were going to take precautionary measures and have increased police presence during the day, which we did. And I sent out an all-call across the district to let parents know what was going on. During the beginning, the Webster Middle School was also notified immediately that this potential threat had come in. And an all-call went out, and notification went out on Twitter, and something was posted on our website. And the police were in and out of the school, and I think that made our students feel very safe. And I think we handled that very well. I publicly want to thank our police for responding very quickly to our threat, and thank our students for speaking up. You know, we had last year after the Parkland tragedy, I had the bracelets made up that say "In Webster, kindness matters." But one of the messages behind that bracelet was, if you see something, say something. And I think kids are really understanding that, and it's our responsibility as a community to speak up. So I wanted to fill you in on that. I have some personnel updates. I'm pleased to let you know that Janet Labonte has returned to Park Avenue Elementary School as an ELL teacher. We have recently hired Faith Veronis as an academic interventionist. I'm pleased to let you know that the breakfast program is going very well over at the middle school, but we've added 3 additional staff for the Webster Middle School. And we did have one resignation of one of our breakfast support people over at Park Ave, so that person will be replaced as well. We have posted our Title I Extended Day programs. We will be offering university. We're not offering Focus University yet. We're looking at offering an MCAS boot camp for students who did not pass the MCAS math, and that should be posted soon. We will be running the Webster Middle School think tank, and new this year, a Legos robotics hands-on enrichment literacy after-school program. Those are all Title I funded. I can give you an update of our enrollment. Today, we have 1,854 students, and we still have ongoing enrollment going on. In your report that was sent last week, those numbers have changed since then. And I have it written right here. So currently, we have 818 students at Park Ave. We have 572 students at the Webster Middle School and 464 students at Bartlett High School. And the numbers on the left on your notes have definitely changed a little bit. So I'll be keeping you updated on the enrollment numbers. This time of the year, we do have late enrollments, and so I anticipate that we're going to see some higher numbers there. I have shared with you my superintendent goals. The goals have been emailed to you. I did have the opportunity to meet with Kathy Naparata today about my goals. I would like to briefly let you know that the goals are really district-wide goals and going to be used with the administrative team. The principals are going to use those as guidelines to create their goals. We're meeting actually tomorrow to work on what I hope is team goals at each of the buildings, and each principal's goals will be aligned to their turnaround plans. And in turn, we're hoping the teachers' goals will be aligned to the turnaround plans. So we'll be getting everybody moving in the right direction to accomplish our goals. I had passed out to you the instructional strategies for the 2018-2019 school year. That's really our guiding light on where we're going. And so we're hoping that that has provided the administrators and the teachers the clarity that they need to get the goals accomplished. Other updates. I think we had a fantastic school opening. I was able to make the rounds at each of the schools and welcome staff and students, and I had the wonderful opportunity of becoming very close with Glacier the bear over at Park Ave School. What a great bear. I mean, so friendly and so happy.
Great dancer.
Yeah. I had never heard of the floss. I had never heard of the floss.
I hadn't until tonight.
Yeah.
So we'll need a demonstration.
I want to thank the Webster Police for also being on site at all of our schools on opening day. They were a presence at each of our schools, which really means a lot to us. I did not see any tears. I had the great opportunity to stand outside with the Webster Middle School kids for a while before they were allowed to go into the school, and I definitely connected with the grade 5 students who were a little tentative about walking through those doors the first day, but I think right now they feel quite at home. Also, kindergarten and preschool had a great opening. Mrs. Parmalee did a nice meet and greet for the parents and introduced all the teachers in a very, very fun way. We have already had our first fire drills at all of our schools, and they were very successful. And as you know, we meet monthly as a district team with our local officials, and we debrief and we keep track of what our safety areas of improvement. And so we look at what could be done better for all of our drills. So those are kind of ongoing things that we do all the time. I do want to let you know that I had a great meeting with Joan Tuttle from the State Department. She is the director of the West Central Regional Area for the support statewide system of support. She's really in charge of our, what used to be called the DSAC team is now being called the SSOS team. I'm not sure why they keep changing their names, but she sort of oversees the team that's been helping us work on our turnaround plans. And the purpose of her meeting was to really meet with me to make sure that they're helping us move the vision forward, the vision that we've outlined for the district. So some of the things that they will be doing with us this year, the SSOS team, is they've been assigned to coach each of our principals, in addition to myself and the central office team. So there's ample support for our principals. They're working with our principals to acclimate the principals on how best to use their ILT teams with unrolling and developing their turnaround plans. So they're doing that. We, of course, as well, I know, but maybe you don't know, our two major focus areas are shared leadership in this district and really looking at instructional intentional practices in the classroom. So those two areas. So the SSOS team is really working individually with the specifics of each school. And we as a larger district are also working on that. The SSOS team is also being used to help train all of the evaluators in this district, the administrative evaluators in this district. We have already had 2 evaluation trainings to date. So there'll be ongoing discussions about the purpose of evaluation and the purpose of what that is. It's not a gotcha, and how to support our teachers in making and taking the steps that they need to become better in their practice. So we're doing a lot of work around that and what that means and how to have that conversation. And specifically, what are we looking for in a classroom? We don't want it to be a mystery. We certainly want the ILT teams to be a part of knowing what they should be working on, all of our teachers. So the ILT teams will be working with the principals to outline a clearer focus of what we're going to be looking at when we walk through classrooms. Another thing that I've asked the SOS team is to do a data training, district-wide data training for the ILT teams and the district administrators. So on October 11th, we'll be looking at how to use the data in the DESI portal, the Edwin data, EWIS data, Edwin data, so teachers have access. And previously, I'm not sure if they had access or knew how to use it. So we really want to be clear with data is only good if you use it. So we want to share the use of our student data. So that will be happening on October 11th. And then, of course, last year we did this as well. We're going to continue to do learning walkthroughs as an admin team so that we can really calibrate what we're looking at in classrooms and looking at patterns across the district. Last year we did notice that we needed to improve student discourse, student conversation, student engagement across all of our schools. So we will be continuing our learning walkthroughs. They won't be full-day learning walkthroughs this year. They'll be half-days. And they're already scheduled. We'll be doing a learning walkthrough at Park Ave on September 14th. We'll be doing the Bartlett High School on September 24th and the Webster Middle School on September 27th. And we also had another data training. We've had ongoing data trainings for our new iReady assessments. The teachers were trained initially at the first 3 days of school. And on September 6th, we held a training specifically for administrators so that they could understand more about the iReady assessment and therefore then help their teachers with it. That's going to be an ongoing learning curve for everybody. We are pleased that we're up and running with the new assessment system. It's really taken, I think, a lot of time to get the student names in there and the classrooms in there. And I want to give a lot of credit to Michelle Budney and Jill and Jan for working with IT to get that system in place. So when the teachers go to do the assessment, it's easy for the teachers. That assessment will be an ELA and math, and that will be our first district benchmark assessment. A letter is going out to parents probably tomorrow or the next day to inform them about that. That letter will come from the whole district administrative team, telling them about our new curriculum and the assessments and the timeline for the assessments. As you know, we are really trying hard to be clear and conscious about what our goals are, and those turnaround plans are crucial to us finding success. So just for clarity, I want you to know that Park Ave is really looking at concept development, quality of feedback, and language modeling. When we had the site reviews last year, those were the areas of focus that the AIR report had given to us. Webster Middle School is going to be focusing on content understanding, analysis, inquiry, and instructional dialogue. Again, those are coming from the reports from the AIR Institute. And Bartlett High School is going to be working on student engagement. Pleased to say that Peter Cushing and the ILT team and the staff at Bartlett High School are going to be looking a little deeper into student engagement and really picking out pieces of that. I do have a long report, I'm sorry, but a lot goes on here. I have been contacted, we are so lucky in this district, by the MSBA, and we've been invited to be a part of the pilot occupancy program, post-occupancy pilot program from MSBA. This is brand new. They're going to be visiting schools. It's voluntary. I, of course, volunteered us. We will be one of 20 schools that the MSBA will be visiting to see how our school looks and how it's running and where all the money went to. So I don't have a date on that, but I will let you know when I do. In terms of community outreach, I am very excited about a meeting that I had this week with Linda Johnson from MatFree to develop some partnerships with their organization and our school. I think some of the things that we talked about would be extremely beneficial to our students. I won't share them until they've become finalized, but I'm really hopeful that there's going to be some great things that come from that. Also want to let you know that we continue to collaborate with BayPath, and I reached out to them to see if they could build a counter for the new Bartlett High School office, and they will be in contact with the high school, and they were excited to do some more projects for us. And then we are also really excited about the new town library opening, and we're planning our first sort of family outreach collaboration sort of to help the library as well. I don't have the specifics, but it is on September 29th. I know that the Webster Public Schools will be there with smiles on their face, helping them. We have been rolling out our new Webster Middle School breakfast in the classroom, and this is actually phenomenal news, I think. Day one, we served 225 breakfasts. Day two, we served 215 breakfasts, and that's double the number of breakfasts that were typically served in the cafeteria. So the breakfast in the classroom program is really making an impact. I would like to let you know that we will be meeting with the administrative assistants on negotiations team again on September 13th. They did not ratify their contract that we had hoped they would ratify, so we'll be meeting again with them. I would also like to let you know that the goals meeting for all the administrators will be occurring in September. Those dates are set. And then I would like to let you know that I will be attending the SEI Administrators course on September 25th, October 2nd, October 9th, October 16th, and October 23rd. I had taken a course last year, but it was the wrong course. So I'll be taking it again. And 3 of those days are school committee meetings, and I will be excusing myself to be here, but if I'm a few minutes tardy, Mrs. Perangeli will fill in for me. And then finally, I would like to remind you about Thursday night, open house at the Webster Middle School, 6 o'clock. And this Friday also, I want to let you know, is the day of caring for the United Way. And United Way comes this year. They're going to be helping clean up Park Ave as well as the Webster Middle School, and they've invited me to attend their opening ceremony in the morning, so I'll be doing that. And then on September 20th, we have Park Ave open house. And that concludes my report.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the committee? Going to the census, because I know the critical aspect of the district census really impacts the Chapter 70 funding.
Yes.
The columns are confusing to me, and I know these numbers fluctuate. But in our notes, it is the 1845 number last year and the 1863 number this year. The question is, has our enrollment gone up?
Okay.
So
The green.
1863 is as of June 1st last year. Our enrollment numbers for our Chapter 70 are as of October 1 of this year. So we haven't submitted those final numbers yet.
So-
So I wouldn't look at these numbers to compare to last year yet, really until October 1 when we get our final numbers.
Okay.
We still carry, certain times we carry kids on the books. They might have been here at the end of the year. We keep them on the books and see if they come in. They might not show up for a couple days. We track them down, see where they went. We might have late enrollment. So really, we'll look at our October 1 numbers to really get a true count of what is going to go towards our Chapter 70 numbers.
And I forget, is it a year behind? So FY20
Yes.
is based on 2018,
Correct.
17 to 18 school year.
So October 18 numbers go towards 20.
So it is this October.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
So we still don't know if we're going to be up or
No.
down.
So I wouldn't be comfortable saying you can really take a look at these numbers and compare them for our Chapter 70. It takes time for them to clean up and to look to see who's there, because they really will start calling homes, visiting homes, checking to see, check the chair, is somebody in the seat actually, those kind of things are happening constantly from day to day. It's very fluctuates daily.
I gave you these numbers just to give you an idea on first day, for kind of first week of school kind of numbers.
I forgot that it was the October date. I
Yeah.
was thinking it was June 1st.
Yeah.
I was asking.
Yeah.
And I forgot to tell you one thing.
Okay.
We submitted our Webster Middle School Emergency Response Plan, the MERP plan. That's due every 3 years. And that plan, the fire, police, EMS, all the district administrators kind of updated. We will be having a meeting, a district meeting with someone from the state on October 4th to go over our plan that we submitted a little bit closer. And I wanted to let you know that. And the parents received their Parent Emergency Response Handbook in my last newsletter. Thank you, I forgot about that.
I just had one quick question on
Yes.
your goals. First of all, I
Yes.
appreciate the effort that went into them, and based on private conversations you and I have had with regards to, the overall strategic plan of the district, I think they match well. Goal number 1, this may sound like a silly question, but is it your expectation, and therefore the expectation of all the administrators, to have all staff evaluations done according to DESI guidelines and contract deadlines?
To contract deadlines, DESI just came out with a new teacher rubric.
Of course.
And our union wants to negotiate that. Has very slight changes, but I would say yes.
Okay.
The goal of this is it's not a paper trail to meet the deadlines. It's more about making this meaningful and having the evaluation process be reflective. Having our teachers feel safe to talk to their administrators about areas that they can improve on, or areas of expertise that they have that they can then share with other teachers. So the evaluation process is really not a gotcha, and we're trying to roll it out in a way that we can engage our staff to become reflective practitioners. And so part of this goal is to make sure that everyone has an evaluation, regardless of who you are in this district, a custodian to administrative assistant to director of food and food services. So that's an overall arching goal. The way to improve a district is to make sure that we're having those meaningful conversations about what's important, safety and learning. And so that evaluation tool is going to be specific, looking at the areas that we are going to now be transparent with our teachers in the turnaround plans. What are we looking for? Ideally, we want to get to a point in this district where when we do learning walkthroughs, our teachers are also doing learning walkthroughs. We're not there yet. And that the teacher leaders are helping bring knowledge to their peers. And that's the culture that we want to develop. So it may look like a simple goal, but it's really not a simple goal. That this boils down to day-to-day actions, day-to-day conversations, day-to-day priorities. What is our priority? And we want teachers to begin to think, and I believe I spoke about this on the district opening, our core beliefs and our vision have to be reflected in what we do every day. How we speak to kids, how we respond to crises, how we respond to parents. And we want to hold that high standard for everyone. And you do that through evaluation, but you also bring the level of accountability up when everybody's doing it together. That's the goal.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, thank you very much for the report.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the business manager reports. Good evening, Mrs. Perangeli.
Good evening, thank you. I would just like to jump on some of Superintendent Gogan's comments about the opening of school. I just wanted to thank the community for their patience with buses. I think overall, we had a pretty smooth opening this year. There's always a couple glitches on the first couple of weeks and delays and people showing up late. But I want to thank the community for their patience in helping us get the kids to where they're going safely and in a timely manner. We did have an issue with one of our buses this year running really late for the elementary school for the first week, and it was still running a little late last week. It's one of our parochial runs that runs in between, and just the area that they have to cover, they have more kids spread out. We only have 2 buses doing the whole town for parochial, so I had to make some tweaks and adjustments and move some stops to a different route and try to work out some timing. And then with kindergarten starting and the drivers saying, you know, making sure we're taking our time, getting the kids off the bus safely. So I just wanted to thank the community and thank all the parents for their patience while we work through. I'm expecting as we move through this week and into next week, you're going to see more regular schedules now as bus drivers are learning parents and bus drivers are learning stops, and you'll see a lot more consistency going on. And I also wanted to thank the police department for their presence opening week. They were really visible around the community, around the schools, pretty active. We heard a lot of sirens for the first few days of them pulling people over, reminding them they're in a school zone and that they need to follow speed limits. There's parents walking, kids walking. You know, you have to be mindful of where you are at when you're driving throughout the community, because we have a lot of kids at bus stops, and I know at certain times it can be a little dark, or maybe the sun's in your eyes. But it's important to be mindful out there, and I want to thank the police for supporting us and helping us remind parents and remind people, community members, to keep their speeds in check and be aware of our schools. So thank you for that. In your packet, as we are getting through the season, we're already starting FY20 budget calendar. I placed a copy in. This is a living, breathing document. It changes from time to time, so we can always change and tweak and add. We have a tentative start date of 10/1. I will be sending budget templates out to the principals. From there, we set up meetings to meet with the principals and staff. At the schools, principals will be meeting with their staff and bringing recommendations forward, and we'll be having those discussions. The superintendent and I will sit down with building principals to talk about their goals, their schools, their budgets, and work through that. And we'll do that by school. We'll do it by district through special ed. We'll meet by the end of October. Hopefully, I have enough information that I can put it all in one document, and we can start meeting as a leadership team, as a group, to start taking a look at our budget and prioritizing and taking a look at the district as a whole and what the needs are. We will have budgets coming to you in January. So as you notice, the first few meetings, the first 2 meetings in January and in February, I have budget reviews on the calendar to submit to the town administrator by the end of February, as always. Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen dates are to be determined depending on their schedule and when they meet. I know they change from time to time. They're trying to work on their scheduling a little bit. And we continue through the meeting. I have a joint board meeting. Typically, that's to be determined also. I'm expecting that we'll have those. And we might even see more frequently little subcommittee meetings with groups. We've already had one this past year, and I expect a couple of those to be coming up through the year. So we might even be meeting more frequently as smaller groups before we meet as a board. So that'll be good. We have a workshop tentatively in April. I'm not sure how the committee feels, but we put some notes, potentially, maybe we could do that before a school committee meeting. Typically, we've done them on a Saturday morning. I don't know if the school committee has any interest in looking at maybe doing something like that before a school committee meeting, seeing you're already coming here. We can talk about that as it gets closer in time and schedule something like that. And then we have our public hearing in April and then our town meeting in May. And like I say, this is a tentative calendar. It can change and be tweaked and adjusted at any time. It's just to give us a guideline as we start moving forward through the budget process. And that is all I have on my report for tonight.
Any questions or comments for Mrs. Prandtly? I know this is all tentative. I'm just thinking, I suspect that workshop's probably going to be held prior to the meetings with the selectmen and the formal meetings that you present prior to the selectmen and the finance committee, meaning our workshop. Because typically that's to go over in detail what the admin team is thinking and the priorities, et cetera.
Okay.
But I know it's all tentative,
Right.
so.
Yep.
And it's similar to the schedule that we have followed for many years, and it's worked out well. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to the next item on the agenda, Principal Report, Dr. Peter Cushing, Bartlett High School. Good evening, Dr. Cushing.
Good evening, members of the committee. How are you doing this evening?
Good, how are you?
Very well, thank you. So I gave you guys a handout prior to the meeting. I want to just talk about the main office shift to kick off this year. One of the things I noticed on my tour of the building was kind of this empty space as you walked into the building. And with the addition of the new security doors, it really facilitated a shift in how we greet people. We've moved chairs out of that space that used to be the main lobby. It's now a little bit of a smaller main lobby, but move the chairs out of there so we welcome people into the office to have them come in and sit down, wait for the child or wait for whatever meeting they're there for. So we also have both of our administrative assistants and the secretary working there and making sure that they're greeting people in a professional manner. One of the things I've really stressed is that as they are the initial face of the school, that we really need to be working on making sure that we're greeting people with smiles and making sure that, we're setting the day right as kids are coming into school. As was mentioned in the meeting minutes, we had the MSBA out here on August 16th. They did a tour of the building, and we'll find out sometime in December. I'm extremely hopeful that we will be moved forward for a renovation project. There are numerous criteria that you need to meet to be considered, and it depends on the number of schools that are competing with us. But we definitely have some things that need to be taken care of throughout the facility. Our staff, custodial staff of Al, Herbie, Dave, Mike, and our summer workers of John Basami and Eric Kunkel have really done a tremendous job getting the building ready, making sure that it looks top-notch, and really ready for students to learn. So that's something that I do want to commend them for that. Our faculty meetings to open the year, we had 3 really good days, working with faculty and staff, giving them some time in the classroom, having police shoot at us. The ALICE trainings were, I think, very successful. It gave faculty and staff an opportunity to break up into 4 groups and to have officers from various communities around, members of SEMLAC, to be able to come in and, number 1, give us some instructions, number 2, do some classroom assaults, and to show teachers how to best prepare and how to respond quickly and how quickly an assault can happen. So with that, those things were really good for teachers to know. We also have the study sync trainings and curriculum being deployed. We had a little bit of struggles with student accounts to kick off the year, but those have been resolved and teachers are excited to really get into the new curriculum. Math CPM, I really can't give enough credit to the math teachers. We're asking them to basically build an airplane while it's flying. And while they had 4 days of professional development, the reality is that we're asking them to do a real shift. And I would say that this is a great opportunity for us to see growth mindset at work. And the teachers are struggling through it with the students, but I think one of the great things to know is that they are struggling through it and they're not giving up. They're finding ways they're staying up late, they're working hard. And when you see the math teachers, I think it really needs to be commended of them for taking on this challenge. Chemical Health Night, an annual requirement of the Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association. Actually, not just annual, 3 times a year. For those of you who have student athletes as a principal, I really wish that you could just do it once. But it is a mandate of the MIA to participate 3 times in that. We were able to have the Webster Police, Webster EMS, and our athletic director speak to parents and guardians. That night was extremely well attended and was really good to see all those parents out. I do hope to bundle that next year with the open house, as I counted the number of sign-ins, and people said that there were more than in past years, which is nice, but we did only have about 60 families. And so I do want to make sure that we're outreaching and looking at when that is scheduled in the year, and how we can best make sure that parents come in. Teachers have said that sometimes meals have been done in the past, that we've sent buses to communities in town. And so those are good ideas, and maybe we look at different ways to get parents in for the open house to be able to get teachers here. Speaking of nights back for teachers, one of the things that I'm considering, there are 3 nights for teachers to be back. Would really want 100% participation in graduation. Given some of our dropout rate and some of the challenges that our students have, I've really set a tone with our senior class that it's a team effort to get to 6, 7, 18. And really want to make sure that the students who started with us on day 1, if they're still with us throughout the year because they didn't move or anything like that, that we are graduating everyone that was with us on day 1. A real focus on a commitment to graduate. And so looking forward to the staff being there as well. Just another little quick add-on there. So homecoming will be, the dance will be October 13th. So if you want to come out with your dance shoes on and see the kids all out. I don't know if there's a promenade in town anywhere that kids gather beforehand on the town common or anything like that for pictures or anything along those lines. But whatever the traditions may be, or new traditions, football game will be October 12th. Athletic Director Paranto has done a nice job scheduling a full slate of athletic events that week to really kind of set up rivalries and to have that as a good opportunity. Kind of speaking about athletics real quick, we were in constant contact through the heat. We were very fortunate that we had limited issues with students. Football team, as an example, was 15 minutes on, 15 minutes off with water breaks, different things like that. Actually, I don't want to say 15 minutes off, but 15 minutes on, taking breaks, taking water breaks, and making sure that students were not overexerting themselves. Our soccer teams did lighter practices. Volleyball teams were inside, so it really wasn't that big of an impact. There were days that coaches had shifted practices substantially. And so just we made it through the heat, and I know we'll have a couple more days of heat ahead of us fairly well. And I think that's a commendation to our coaches and our athletic director. But myself, Superintendent Gogan, and Athletic Director Paranto were in constant contact about that. And we were reaching out to other athletic directors across the state. So September 11th, 2018, obviously today, we honored the past this morning at 7:59. We did a school-wide announcement and memorial for the fact that that was the time that the first plane took off and brought the school around. In many regards, I would say that this is going to be remembered by many of us here, similar to the Kennedy assassination. And so it's not real for our students or for my father's generation, Pearl Harbor, whatever it may be, these once-in-a-generation moments that we've lived through now. And so those are the types of things that I think need to be called back and refreshed for students to understand that since that point, we've been at war for 17 years, and our soldiers have given their lives to protect our country for a reason, dating back to this date 17 years ago. So we did that over our loudspeakers this morning, and our history classes did some presentations as well. Superintendent Gogan mentioned the school threat situation, and while it was vague, The reality is that the vagueness almost makes it more urgent, because with that lack of specificity around a BHS school, well, just in Massachusetts, you can name quite a few BHSs, from Beverly to Brighton to Bedford to Brockton and many in between. And so the reality is that it's a see something, say something situation. Several students came forward, one to start the day and then several as the day went on. As word started to spread throughout the student body, we wanted to make sure that we brought them together, that we quelled any rumors, and that we really addressed the unrest. We're in a unique situation today where about 40 of our students were at Nichols College for the Nichols Honors Academy freshman induction and senior recognition ceremony. Mariah was there as one of our students. And so they were kind of left out in the dark. When I made my way back there around 11:45, I addressed them and the staff that was there, and hopefully made them feel a little bit more comfortable, depending on the text messages that have been coming back and forth, as students are one to do. We made notification through our one call system, and also provided a letter, and I believe the letter was shared with the Worcester Telegram and Gazette and other local newspapers. Our Massachusetts Interscholastic Athletic Association student ambassadors at present, believe a third one will be added, but right now it's Allison Grimsky and Logan Peranto are the two that are representing us. Opening night football, opening night football was actually last Friday, where we throttled, sorry, Monty Tech. I did take great pleasure in that. I do have to say, after many years of battling against Monty Tech, but it was really great to see our football team acquit themselves well on the team, while I wrestled with my 2-year-old, who sometimes seemed like she wanted to be on the field. But it was really great. I hope to see as many people as possible out this Friday night at Memorial Field for the game, as I believe we're taking on Bay Path, and hopefully we can continue our season of success. It was great also, too, that the cheerleaders joined us Friday night. They made the travel. They haven't done that in a number of years. I really want to give a true shout out to all the members of the cheerleading team and their coaches, Arelis and others. Really, they went above and beyond to be there, and I think it's something great to really build back pride in Bartlett and to make sure that we become the school of record in our region and across the state, and that starts with pride. And I've been having entry plan meetings with members of the faculty, the staff, and community members as well. I invite anyone who wants to come and meet with me to sit down, tell me all the good things they know about Bartlett, tell me the things that they would like to see us grow, and how we can achieve greatness. One of the things, too, as I close out, is if you don't know, 2 of our families have suffered house fires as well as the tornado damage recently. So really looking to put together a plan of action. They're being supported by the Red Cross and other organizations, but I also am a firm believer that charity is best when it starts at home. And so looking for ways to really support our students, working with the superintendent on that to make sure that these students who are displaced and maybe living in hotel rooms or doubling up with other families, that we're going above and beyond McKinney-Vento, that we're going above and beyond what the Red Cross can do, and really cradling these students and making them feel like their school is their home. So that's my report at present, and thank you very much for your time and consideration this evening.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the committee?
Mr. Chair,
Ms. Blythe?
I just wanted to thank both of you, Dr. Cushing and Ruth Ann, for how you handled today. My daughter was one of the students at Nichols, and she messaged me and she said, all is good. I know you received a phone call, so thank you, because that is one of my biggest fears. So just how you handled it was really, really professional and very quick. And I know other parents of the district really appreciate it as well. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? You obviously addressed September 11th, and I'm obviously glad that you and your staff mentioned that in school. And I was thinking today in the car the same exact thought, that our kids really have no idea except watching a video or reading what's in I don't even know if you guys have history books anymore, it's history online. But the other thing that hit me, and it's kind of sad, is these kids really have no idea what September 12th was like. And as awful as September 11th was, September 12th, and for a relatively too short but long period of time, was a pretty phenomenal time in our country. And unfortunately, in this era that we live in, sometimes local, state, and especially federal, all they see is, regardless of political party, what I consider to be at most times foolishness, and at other times awful behavior. But it's too bad that the kids really have no idea what it was like waking up on September 12th and how, I'll never forget, I was traveling 2 weeks after September 11th, and I was in San Antonio, Texas. And there was a group of us from the Boston area, and a group of us just happened to be in the airport from New York. And you had Yankees fans and Red Sox fans. And you actually had Red Sox fans rooting for the Yankees because they were on TV in the restaurant in the airport. So it just popped into my head while you were saying that. But I also just want to thank you. I oftentimes, whenever I interact with parents, students, or staff, I'll always just say, how's the school year going? And it's been 10 weeks since you've been here, but almost every single person I've spoken to has been very impressed with your work ethic and your energy and your vision and really the positive environment that you've brought into the school. I think, not saying that it was negative, not saying it was bad, but I do want to thank you for your efforts in a very short period of time. And I had the privilege of interacting with a bunch of Bartlett students this weekend at a fundraiser. So you're never quite sure when you ask them how school's going. But they were very positive, and I know the football players really liked the fact that you were in the huddle at the end. Is that fair to say?
I would say yes.
And they thought that was pretty cool. So thank you for your efforts up to this point.
I appreciate it. The one thing about September 11th that I like to say, I know that the middle school is considering a Washington, D.C. trip. And having been a middle school principal for the past 7 years, one of the things that we did was on the last day is always the zoo day. And it makes a nice, easy day for everybody. We changed that up, and we made an early morning departure for New York City. In the first year, we moved 108 kids with chaperones, 16 city blocks from Battery Park at the tip of Manhattan, where a sculpture that was crushed and was recovered is actually at Battery Park. And it was so that we could see the Statue of Liberty, see that statue, and then walk 16 blocks in rush hour traffic on Memorial Day weekend, rush hour pedestrian traffic, to the World Trade Center site. We've since added the museum to that trip, and if that's any possibility, the simple fact of the matter is that is an remarkably moving exhibit, and it takes you to the literal foundations at the bedrock of the World Trade Towers, which are still there, and the exhibits that you see, and I think for our students, that those types of experiential learning opportunities are so fundamentally critical. And sorry to talk about middle school and all that, but I think as students matriculate to high school, having those experiences and having those knowledges will only help student engagement and student discourse that much further. And thank you very much for the compliments, and I do look forward to helping Bartlett really be student-centered and focused on what's best for our kids.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. Next item on the agenda is student update. Mariah Belletti. On behalf of the committee, welcome, Mariah, to your first official meeting. We are very excited that you're joining us for the remainder of the school year. As you can tell, our meetings are very exciting and provocative and full of energy. So welcome.
Thank you. For academics, I have students and staff have welcomed all the freshmen to the school, and they have guided them through the first couple of days, including guidance and other students. The Bartlett's October SAT deadline for the sign-up was September 7th, and those will be held here in our classrooms on October 6th. And then as Dr. Cushing said, we had the Nichols Honors Academy cohort induction today, as well as the seniors who have been participating in the cohort for the past 3 years. and they got their certificates today. For school clubs, we have the signups for the Medical Careers Club, and those were today at 2:05 in the nurse's office. Diversity Tribe meetings began September 6th, and there's still time to join. And DECA is now officially running, and we had our elections today for our officials, I guess you would say, for the president, vice president, and secretary and treasurer. And then they are selling homecoming shirts, and they'll be going classroom to classroom as well as selling during lunch. Fine arts, there was a meeting for all band students today, and we discussed the music for the semester and the commitment to participating outside of the classroom and practicing all of the music. Show choir has officially started, and their theme this year is wanting to change the world. For athletics, we have all the signups which have been completed for the fall season. Also, as Dr. Cushing said, we had the Chemical Health Night, and that was September 4th, and it discussed the season's guidelines, rules, and overviews for each of the sports this season. And then for our wins so far, we have the girls and boys cross country who won their first meet last Wednesday, with the girls scoring 21-36 and the boys scoring 24-32, 32-24, I believe, over Oxford. And then we have the first football game, which was on the 7th, and it ended in a victory 30-14 over Monty Tech. And we have our first home game on Friday at 7, and also it's marching band's first show, I believe, which is exciting. And then we have the National Honor Society. We had community service opportunity at the open house where some of our members could babysit faculty and children's parents. Babysat their kids. And I participated in that, and it was actually pretty fun. I had Miss Argentari's kid, and he was really energetic and fun. So, we also have the opportunity to train as guides for the town's grand opening at the library. And then we also have our induction dates for our new members that are either juniors or new senior members that will be into it. And then we also have the NJHS induction. Those are both set in October. I'm not sure what the dates are yet. Hopefully I'll have those soon. And then lastly, for student government and our student council, we have the sophomore, junior, and senior classes have started meeting to plan their goals for the year, and their freshman elections took place last week, and those were announced on September 7th. And the student council hosted a car wash at AutoZone Saturday, and then the senior and junior class did a joint fundraiser at AutoZone for a car wash as well on the 9th, day after. Both had good outcomes. And then we have homecoming October 13th, which we decided would be like a fall ball kind of theme. So it's like just an autumn decorations, trying to keep it simple where everyone can hopefully go. And we also plan to do keychains for that as like a memorable item for the year. And especially for the seniors, I think it's going to say homecoming 2018 on it. So hopefully people will like that. And then we also hopefully have our Halloween night for the senior class. October 26th is what we're hoping for. And we did this last year, and basically it's just mostly for the middle school kids and elementary students and our like any of the town students really. And we participate in tons of games, activities, we sell snacks, and it's kind of just like a trick-or-treat night for the kids. And we did a photo booth last year, and we did like our homemade photo booth. And then we also gave out candy bags and prizes to like all of the games. So that was very successful, and hopefully it's a better turnout this year as well. That is all I have for tonight.
Well, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from the committee for Mariah? If you don't mind me asking, how was your beginning to your school year?
I think it's very successful so far. I'm a big planner, so I've already have everything figured out and have college stuff ready to go. I've been talking to my teachers about tips for college applications and how to go through the process and like where I should be at. And also for our college essays, we went to the Nicholas Honors Academy induction today, and we talked with Dr. Pelto, I believe his name was, and we discussed like what our strengths are and how we can incorporate our personal experiences into our essays to make it more unique, which I thought was very helpful. So I'm ready for the year to like officially like begin and get everything settled in.
Did you find it strange that you were there as a senior
Yeah,
and seemed like just yesterday that you were there as a freshman?
yeah, I actually did.
It gets worse when you get older, unfortunately. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on with the agenda, under old business, we have the monthly report on fundraising applications. Again, as the committee will know, per policy, we are updated on the fundraising applications that were approved in the previous, since the previous meeting. We have two that were approved. We do not approve them. The administrators approve them. The BHS Gridiron Club is going to be selling ads for the football program book. If there's anybody out in the viewable audience that is interested in advertising, please reach out to the athletic director. They'll be selling raffle tickets, apparel, tent sales, and meat raffle, and they've been a wonderful group that has raised a tremendous amount of money for our football program. The other fundraiser is, once again, the Bartlett Student Council will be selling Krispy Kreme donuts in November, and I suspect that there's somebody sitting at that table that's going to be going down to Mohegan Sun, picking up about 400 dozen donuts on some morning after the 9th, but we shall see. Maybe Mr. Shenevert will volunteer this year. Any questions or comments on the fundraising applications? Hearing none, the next item under new business is the approval of fundraising organization, the Gridiron Club. Again, per school committee policy, all organizations who provide fundraisers and are associated with the schools, we do ask that they go through a quote-unquote application process, and this is more so that we as a district and as a committee know who the groups are, understand what their goals are, who the individuals involved in those associations are. The application that we have before us this evening is the Gridiron Club. As I mentioned, they've been supporting the athletic program for many, many years. I just want to, publicly thank Mr. and Mrs. Kunkel, who, once again, for, I won't say how many, but for many, many years have been active in supporting, coaching, broadcasting, two wonderful grandsons now involved and have been for many years. So we want to thank them. And I'm a little concerned about the school liaison that they have as part of this group. That would be my only concern, but I probably shouldn't go there. But seriously, they've been a group that's done a tremendous amount of good work for the high school and the athletic program. So was there anything else that you wanted to add, Mrs. Gogan?
I want to add that, again, I never am surprised at how much support we get. I mean, I am continually surprised. I want to publicly thank the AutoZone for donating their cleaning equipment and supporting our kids this past weekend. And it really is a community effort. Our school is well beyond the walls of the educators here, and that's what makes Webster so special. So I want to thank them all, the Gridiron Club. And this is an annual approval process, so the other ones will be rolling in.
I'm glad you mentioned that because one of the managers on Saturday, Ernest, was just amazing. He had buckets and hoses, and I think in the store he was telling customers, don't forget to go see the kids down at the end of the parking lot, and he was interacting with the kids. He was great.
It's nice.
Any questions or comments about the Gridiron Club fundraising application? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the Gridiron Club fundraising organization.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes. Next item on the agenda is approval of 1.0 FTE ABA position at Park Avenue Elementary School. Mrs. Gogan.
Yes, I would like to request the school committee's approval to hire an additional ABA paraprofessional for Park Ave Elementary School to meet our documented IEP needs. This position is estimated to cost about $22,000 and will be grant funded under the Special Education Entitlement Grant.
Any questions or comments from the committee? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the 1.0 FTE ABA position at Park Ave.
So moved.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Laurie, would you poll the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, and just before we continue with the agenda, I just want to, on behalf of the committee, thank all of the administrators and teachers and staff and bus drivers and crossing guards and our police partners and the general community. For the first year in a long time, I haven't received any complaints, which is wonderful.
We had a great opening.
We did, and I know you guys worked very hard, especially with two new principals coming in. Donna went fantastic, so thank you for your efforts. Moving on with the agenda, review, transfer, signing of bills, payroll, and vouchers.
Mr. Chair,
Mr. Shenivert,
I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
there was a motion and a second. Laurie, would you pull the committee, please?
Yes.
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 Yes, meeting adjourned. Thank you.